topics and opinions expressed in the following show are solely those of the hosts and their guests and not those of W4CY Radio, its employees, or affiliates. We make no recommendations or endorsements for radio show programs, services, or products mentioned on air or on our web. No liability, explicit or implied, shall be extended to W4CY Radio or its employees or affiliates. Any questions or comments should be directed to those show hosts. Thank you for choosing W4CY Radio.
Hello, and welcome to It's Your Voice, the show that hosts enriching conversations in diversity. My name is Bahia Yaksan. I am a core alignment coach and a diversity educator, and delighted to be the host of this interesting show. If you want to look at some of the classes I coach and offer to individuals and organizations, you can see samples on my website, which is knowwhatyouvantcoaching.wordpress.com. And I have to tell you, we have two guests today, and I'm super excited. I just met these young men, I don't know, about a week ago at an event. A local candidate who's running for Congress was holding a, get to know his platform event. And these two gentlemen were pointed out, they were the only two there from their generation, Gen Z, and they made some good points, asked some good questions, and I thought, gosh, lots and lots of people would want to hear what they're sharing. It'll resonate with lots of people. So I'm going to just bring them out first. Henri and Felipe Gutierrez. Thank you so much for just being willing to say, okay, we'll talk.
It's a great opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you. I just want to read a little bit of each of the bios you sent me, and then the rest of your background will just gather through the conversation, because you both have very interesting stories. So let me turn that off. Okay, so that's interesting that Henri, you're a poet, right? Henri Gang.
Mm-hmm.
And you shared that you're a Korean American poet, and I love that you wrote you're striving to be a voice of hope and reason and an honest soul that can't be bought. Very refreshing to hear in these times, probably in any times, but really appreciate that. And that you're the eldest child of honorable and hardworking parents, and you call Glendale, California your home. You're also currently a student at UC Davis studying mathematics and philosophy. And before I read some of what Felipe wrote, I wanted to just mention some of the topics we'd like to cover are about like the apathy of everyday Americans. I think this was, I combined the different topics you two were interested in talking about. This is powerful and will resonate. One is the humiliation ritual that is applying for jobs these days. For people in Gen Z, other generations as well, but we're talking about Gen Z right now. The over-financialization economy, the decline of living standards, and there'll be more, but let me just share a little bit about Felipe, which is your first-generation university student from the Imperial Valley, a small city on the border of the United States and Mexico, that you enjoy piano, reading, and you were raised Catholic. And growing up, you didn't have much in life, and leaving home once you were 18 was a necessity rather than a choice. And then you shared, let's just start, can we start with Felipe, just sharing more about your, like when you arrived at university, that you felt like it was a luxury to like choose a field that you really wanted to study because of pressure to find financial security. Can you say more about that? Whatever you want to share.
Well, I definitely think it's a feeling that others in my generation feel as well. It's not uncommon, I think. Um, we're told from such a young age that going to university or college is just what you must do afterwards to get work. And I guess I didn't put much thought into it because when I was in school, I was I used education as a way of an escape, and it was my way of navigating the world. um, when I went to university, leaving my hometown, it was a culture shock. It was. Um, I chose my degree in computer science because I thought it would be like you said, it would be a field that would give me financial security, and I could start to build my life from there. And well, events happened, and now I'm in the job market that we all know today, and I'm left to just pick up the pieces. What now? And a lot of others in my generation, especially graduates or close to graduates, they feel the same. They feel that the trajectory in life that they were told to take is not bearing fruit. It's not giving them the life that they were promised. So, what comes next?
Thank you. Yes, definitely. So many people are identifying with that right now. Henry, do you want to add to that piece? And I also know that you were kind enough to look for a poem that you've written that you are willing to share on the show. So I'm going to let you start where you would like to start.
Yeah, thank you for sharing, Felipe. It's always a blessing to hear what other people think and have experienced, and I know I learn a lot from all of your words and all your experiences. The poem that I want to share, I spent a lot of time trying to think about what it is I want to say, but in the last 5 minutes recently, I wrote this and I thought this is the substance of what I want to get across, and so here it is. We are, all of us, boats crushing against others. Captains tell us there is one star to follow, but there are many. Wayward, we follow as we are told, and fall away from our home. And as the storms bellow, we harm the other fellows. It's sad, I think, so few see that we're a whole community out at sea, and that it doesn't have to be always just you versus me.
Mm, wow, that's powerful. That
I
it
liked
doesn't.
it, and so I wanted to share that with y'all.
Yeah.
We're on a long voyage, I think.
Yes, we are.
Yeah. Well, I love your community mindedness. And I remember one of you shared a concern about, well, yeah, like why is there so much, like you two do not relate to the apathy. Like you two care. You two are thinking about how do we shape the future? Like things looking pretty disastrous.
They look grim.
Let's
They do.
and what the promise that was made is not bearing out. And I'm just curious where, I don't know, like, do you want to start with talking about, do you have I mean, I have an idea of why there's so much apathy, um, but do you want to talk about why you think so many of your peers like are not even interested in voting right now?
I do want to mention that we are not we can relate to the apathy. We're not immune to it. We feel it every day. I especially do. And I don't blame the others in my generation for being apathetic. No one can. They are, well, they don't have many options.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, they don't have career options. They don't have options for building a family or just pursuing the things they want to do in life. And I blame the phones, but we'll get to that.
That's
You know,
relevant.
yeah, and
Yeah.
I agree with Felipe's sentiment, but I would kind of want to take it into a different direction. So, from my personal experience, I used to be a pre-med and I wanted to become a doctor. And I saw all the people around me, they promoted this culture of lock in. You just got to lock in, do your work, put your head down, stop thinking, do as you're told, do all the tasks, do all the internships, do all the research, and you'll get that job and you'll be happy. And that is what not only I believed, but I saw others around me believing and doing. And of course, I wanted a community. I wanted friends. I wanted to belong. And so I adopted some of these mindsets so that I could have people to relate to. And for a while, it was nice. It kept going, but at a certain point, for me at least, I just stopped to think, why am I doing what it is that I'm doing every single day? Why am I
Mm,
going to my classes, to my lectures? Why am I half-heartedly listening? Why am I half-heartedly doing these assignments? I understand that I had a goal to become a doctor in the long run, and honestly, through my personal experiences working at a clinic, I realized I don't have to be a doctor to help people, and that's why I took a step back and decided not to pursue that. But I was shocked to see that so many people went their everyday lives without thinking about why they're doing what it is they're doing. There's no
mm,
time to reflect, to introspect, to take like a bird's eye view of their whole life. Like, what do they want? Where are they going? What direction do they see for their lives? What inspires them? What do they care about outside of job security and financial success? And
Many
I
people,
don't think we
they
talk
live
about
to
that
work.
enough.
They live to work instead of working to live.
And I don't like that culture. I really don't. I think it's killing the soul of America.
mm,
It leads to a lot of burnout. It really does.
100% agree.
I found community in university, but I had that one track mind of just pursue this study, get a job. But I found community, and I'm grateful for that. I don't regret going to college, not at all.
Mm.
I know
And
a lot of my generation does, though.
mm,
yes, I agree. And one other thing that I wanted to add that I also noticed that may contribute to a lot of the apathy that we see,
mm-hmm,
especially in young Americans, I think given the work culture, given the value put in productivity, I found that myself and a lot of my friends, we took solace in going out and partying and smoking and drinking. And this was just such a widespread thing in our culture, in our young people culture, college culture. And personally, it's not something I really related to until I got to college and I saw people around me, my friends, started doing it. And, I didn't want to be left out. So I hung out with my friends, but it wasn't something that I was raised with. It wasn't something I knew too much about. And yet, once I got here, once this work culture, this grind mindset, this productivity is the most important thing, came into my life and into so many lives of my friends and the people around me, they needed an outlet. They needed an escape because this isn't what was actually feeding their souls. And we got caught up in this nasty cycle where we would
mm,
abuse our bodies and our minds, and then we have no time to think. We have no energy. All we can do is just mindlessly go to that next task because we already know that's what we're supposed to do. That's the path that we're on. And taking a step back from all that, it's hard because we've already developed habits, addictions,
mm, mm-hmm.
and there is just no time or energy to stop and think, you know?
I'm so glad you mentioned that. If I can just interject this, Felipe, before you speak again. I have noticed and I've been very concerned because I went to the college in the 80s. Um, and I was thinking, am I remembering correctly? But I have lots of siblings and nieces and nephews, so I've seen college students and from the different decades.
Yeah.
And this one, I've been thinking, are they drinking and drugging so much more than we did and my nephews and my nieces, or am I imagining in that? And I've been thinking, was it because of COVID? And then on top of COVID, we have this new kind of like, in my words, um, kind of authoritarian hostage takeover of the U.S. government at the moment that's
hmm
negatively impacting the entire world and so many human beings here and elsewhere. So I was thinking, as a coach, I tell people asking why is not the most useful thing because it makes us think in the past. But it starts often. The questions start with why. Like, why is this generation seem to be more? Again, I might be using dramatic words. The word just keeps coming to me, like more tortured. I'm just going to say that mentally, but depends on who you are. Some people are being physically tortured in different situations, but and why are they abusing themselves so much more? Like, am I making that up? So I really appreciate what you're saying, Henry, that you've been able to step back and say, oh my gosh, what are we doing? And are we doing this because we feel stuck and it helps us, can't remember exactly how you phrased it, like numb out and then until
Yeah.
to the next class
I
or the
think
next task.
I think our generation does feel stuck, and we feel that we're running out of time. We know we are, not just for uh, in the time that we are in college, um, until we get our job for life. Um, we feel like we're running out of time to find work and to live in a functional society. We are running out of time, and a lot of us feel that, and this is how it's expressed um, through mind-numbing escapism. We see it, and so many people are just on their phones with ridiculous screen times. it's it's a problem. It really is, and I think it's one born out of despair, and I think we need more hope. I believe in hope.
I
Henry believes in hope too.
I do believe in hope. And I agree with Felipe's sentiment. And to answer your question, Bahia, I feel like we have to take a look at, let's look at where we're at. We're in California. We have much more liberal laws here, and so access to substances is just easier, you know? Um, that I think definitely contributes. On top of that, social media and the way that young people today tend to abuse social media and in turn allow them to abuse themselves and their own mental health,
Mm-hmm.
I think definitely destroys any sense of community. When you're online, you're scrolling and looking at everybody's lives, but
Mm-hmm.
not in a genuine light. It's in a very artificially curated light. You're seeing
Mm-hmm.
only the best versions of people, and not even just that. You're seeing people as they want to be seen in the most appealing light possible.
Mm-hmm.
And this, these posts, they prod and poke at our weaknesses, at our insecurities, our negative emotions, and we tend to compare ourselves. And when we do that, we're we put ourselves through so much emotional and mental turmoil. And we want to find a community to help bring us out of that hole, right? But when we go out and our friends are all struggling through the same thing, and all we want to do is just escape from these problems, substances are a very easy way to cope with that. And it's a big coping mechanism, I think, for a lot of young people today. And when Felipe says that we're running out of time, I definitely get where he's coming from. But to me, I feel like thinking in that way is not something that I want to share to a lot of people. I want to say, like, look, you're young. You have your whole life ahead of you. You have the time to stop and think. Think about what you're doing, why you're doing it, what you want to be doing instead. Give yourself a little break. Give yourself time to touch grass and talk to your family and make new friends and just talk to that random stranger at the coffee shop or borrow a book from the library. I can't remember the last time any of my friends actually went to go borrow a book, and to just live life away from everything you're used to. What you think is life may not actually be, and just give yourself an opportunity to experience everything else.
We see the good in that, but most of our generation doesn't, Henry.
Well, that's why we have to
They're stuck
talk
on their
about it.
phones. There's no
I
community.
agree.
There's no third places where people can go and just chat and be away from it all.
I agree,
Yeah,
and
I know you agree. Yeah, it's
mhm,
hard. It's so hard.
I know, I know, and you have a keen eye at detecting problems. I just want to do my part in sharing that it doesn't always have to be that way. We don't always have to stay stuck in those mindsets. We can change, and there is hope. There is.
There
You
is.
just have to find it and seize it and hold on to it.
Mm. I think we're both here for the same reason then,
Yeah.
right?
Well, I was going to ask this later, and I will go back to some of the other topics y'all listed because I asked you to list the topics in advance, which they're all very meaningful. But let's not stray away from there is hope. I surely believe in it. I mean, I've been coaching people since 2013,
Mhm.
and it's just absolutely wonderful because I see what you reprogram, you design your own program. You're like, train your brain. You design how you want to be and what you want to do, and through neurolinguistic programming, if you're serious and you're committed, you really do. You can rewire yourself.
Mhm.
So like, I'm not trying to advertise myself. I'm just saying. So I see people um, take charge of their lives and redirecting themselves when they have enough attention to notice. They can change. There are options, but sometimes we just really need help seeing them and being reminded and connecting to other human beings. So I really like that's my source of hope. Because I've experienced this, I witnessed, I see it. I help people find it. But what's each of you? What is your source of hope? Like, where do you find hope? How do you find hope? Um, what do you do when you're spiraling down and you remember, oh wait, there's hope. How do I get it back?
I'd love to answer that question, but I do need to use the restroom. I'll be right back. Henry,
Okay.
take it away.
Okay, I think for me, the way that I find hope is definitely in the people around me, my friends and my family. There's just something about being honest with my loved ones, my parents, with my siblings, my aunts and uncles, my grandparents, my girlfriend, my friends, that just fills my cup. And it
Mhm.
really nourishes my soul when I can just vent and share all these problems that I'm having, these thoughts that I may be having, dark thoughts, good thoughts, and just frustrations and confusions. And I don't want to just hold them all in. I think a beautiful thing about community
Mm.
is that we can share how we're all just human beings and we all go through very similar emotions and experiences and thoughts, and being able to share them and connect with people who also know exactly how we're feeling is exactly how I find hope, to know that I'm not alone. And I want to just be here and, let young people know, like, look, you might not have the friends that feed your soul, you might not have a community, but they're out there. And as long as you keep looking and you don't give up hope, they'll find you. Just stick to who you are. Don't lose yourself, and you'll be fine. How about yourself?
That's excellent. Oh, thank you. Well, really, honestly, I mean, I think you hit the core things. Like, I think connecting with other human beings is huge because we are an interdependent species.
Mm-hmm.
We need other human beings in a really healthy, interactive way, not in a clingy, overly dependent way, but like it's just good for health to
Mm-hmm.
have conversations, walk with someone, have coffee, tea, water with someone. Um, and I love that one of you mentioned third space. I wonder if you can. Um, so I hope I answered your question. I mean, I just think it's the human
Yeah,
connection.
yeah.
Like I'm very grateful. I have two children, and they're amazing human beings, and they also bring me a lot of hope.
Mm-hmm.
And I have siblings. So like you, like other people. Um, and sharing, I think it's so important to talk and share and express, especially that what we're afraid of expressing, right? Because
Mm-hmm.
like if I'm having this fear, then probably other people are having this fear. If I'm having this doubt, other people are having this doubt. We really are
Exactly.
not alone, but we can just
We're not.
feel so isolated, and we can think that we are alone.
We're more connected than ever
Absolutely.
with the internet, but we feel so alone. That's true.
Mm-hmm.
Henry's answer was um, people. Was it people? Is that where you find your
Friends
hope?
and loved ones, friends and
That's
family.
mm.
How about
Well,
yourself?
I have a similar answer. It's people. I
Mm-hmm.
find I find hope in the people in my life, friends and family, but as well as the people that I might never meet. The belief that they'll live a happy and full life, that brings joy to me. And even if things will get better in the future, and
Hopefully. We're all praying.
they might get worse before they get better, but things will get better.
Hmm.
It'll take action, of course, not on its own, of course, but I I find hope in the idea that just things will be better because people are naturally good. I think maybe that's a fallacy, but um, the people in my life give me hope, but especially the next generation, especially the next generation, because they're going to grow up in a world surrounded by these problems that we're only beginning really to face, to see, to talk about, but it's going to be so apparent and obvious to them. Um,
Amen.
uh, I was going to mention this in if the question was asked, the use of AI in schools is
Mm-hmm.
especially. I have a niece and she's 12 years old, and she's always noticing that other students are using AI in their work in the sixth grade, and that's not fair to her because my family has been teaching her not to use AI because her brain won't work if she does, and she she and others in Generation Alpha, that's her generation, I believe, they're connected to the internet all the time. I know it started with Gen Z, with me and Henry's generation, but for them, it's been like that since they were well,
Mm.
since they before they could even walk. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but she sees the problem. She sometimes she tells me, "Am I ever going to be able to afford a house?" And I just think you're in the sixth grade. Don't. I want to say don't think about that, but I would just be lying. Um, they see these problems with unrestricted internet access, but the use of AI in schools is definitely not a good thing, and we'll get more into that. But they see the problems, and I think they'll grow strong because of it.
Mm.
So I find hope in the next generation. They'll do what we couldn't.
And
Yes.
I find hope in your generation. um, I mean, I think that you are like in the process of doing what you need to do to, and you're gonna come up, you're going to have solutions for
I
for
want
your
to. Sorry, yeah,
for your.
I
I'm sorry.
don't want to cut you off.
I was to say for your lives and for others will benefit from the degree of compassion and the sense of community that you're longing for, others are longing for, and
Mm.
you're already creating it. You're creating community right here, right now in this conversation, and you're both creating community through the friends and family you love, and you I think you're gonna create a third space that other people will come to. Um, yeah, go ahead,
Not to
Henry.
put all the So really quick, Henry, not to put all the pressure on the next generation. Of course,
Yeah.
I mean, me and Henry are here because we want to do something about it as well. They definitely need to be led by the generation that exists now, right? Um, it's not all on them, of course. It's on us too. We just have to be the kind of leaders that they can actually look up to, little by little.
Mhm.
Carry on, Henry.
Oh yeah. So on this topic of hope, I also just recall that I don't think I answered your question of why don't young people go vote entirely and directly. And so I guess I hope, would it be okay if I answer that now a little bit more
Sure.
directly?
Yeah.
Sure. So to me, as I was thinking, as we were talking, I think the reason why young people don't vote is because I don't think they have hope that their votes actually matter or count.
Mm-hmm.
Like that town hall that we went to,
Mm-hmm.
uh, Felipe and I were pretty much the only ones of our age. Everyone else was much older, um,
Mm-hmm.
and seeing that stark contrast to me made me think, why aren't people here? I know all my friends, they complain about a lot of the problems they see in our society today, but they don't do anything. And I think from my personal experience and the people around me, I think it's that they don't realize that they actually can do something. They don't trust in their own power. And on this topic of hope, I just want to say, like, you have to hope and believe in yourself and in your one vote and trust that you standing as a beacon of hope for other people, saying, sharing how your vote matters. It really does. And you can change the world. You can change what you see around you, the problems that you see. You can help to alleviate them, mitigate them, and solve them. Of course, it won't be done overnight. Of course, it can't be done by ourselves, but we cannot let go of this belief that it is possible. And I feel that young people aren't told that often enough. We're told all these problems that we're seeing with this administration, with all this infighting, the polarization that we see in this country, all these issues. And while I agree they are important things, I don't think it's ever emphasized that we can do something about it. Young people, we're young. We have our whole lives to learn how we can contribute to society and how our votes can change the world. And we have our whole lives to see that happening. You know, we'll have a voting record. We'll see how, oh, wow, I contributed to something. I did what I could do. And just sharing that message, standing as a beacon of hope is, I think, just super, super important. And it's not something that we do enough.
I totally agree with you. Oh my gosh. Yeah, there's just so much focus on the negative and not the
Too much.
positive. Yeah. And one of the, again, just as a coach, when I was receiving coaching as part of my training, that my coach kept telling me, focus on what you want. You keep talking about what you don't want. You keep talking about what you don't want, what you want to get away from, what you want to avoid. That's keeping that in the center of your mind. That keeps
I
you,
agree.
all of you directed at, like, I don't want this, da, 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 da. And when it finally clicked, it took a long time, but when it finally, like, oh my God, if I focus on what I want, or for me or my
Exactly.
children, or then that's where I go. That's where my attention goes, right? And it sounds so basic, but to put it into practice, I totally agree with you, Henry. If we need to hear and reiterate and practice and remind people exactly what you said, there is hope. And being one other image, sorry, I'm talking too much, but
No.
it came to mind when you were talking about one vote, because I definitely have spent a lot of time in the past being cynical. Had period of time when I like, well, what's one vote going to do? Well, and a Buddhist friend gave me the image, and I was cynical at first also about this, like, oh, we're just a drop in a pond, but if you make sure your drop has a ripple that's positive. And I remember, like, cynically thinking, oh, and one drop in a pond, but like, yeah, but what if everybody you meet is you influence and remind them they can be a drop in the pond, and then you're like, everybody's raining positive drop, like the ripples do radiate. It's just actually logical.
I
It's
love
actually
that.
logical. It's not like a belief. It's not a leap of faith. It's like, it's logic.
Exactly. And having that is the impetus that we need to keep moving forward and help others move forward, help them start living and breathing and thinking and voting. That's what's most important at the end of the day, right?
Yeah, that's a very important exercise.
Mm-hmm.
Very important to not take for granted. I mean, just think about it. There are a group of people trying like heck to stop people from voting. Why? Because it's so powerful.
Mm-hmm. And it's the
It's so
beliefs
powerful.
that do the most damage.
What are you thinking,
Anything you
Felipe?
want to add, Felipe?
I want young people to vote, but there's not many people worth voting for just yet. Yet there are some beacons of light. I mean, everybody loves Mom Donnie, right? Um, it's it's definitely a trend that's getting better, and um, I think the greatest threat to our country and the world is the lack of participation in civil democracy. We are losing that, and it's at the lowest point it's been, I think, in the history of our country.
Way to be hopeful, man.
I mean, I'm not. The problem's there. The problem is there, right? Um, no, I mean, people are becoming more aware of everything that's going on, and I think they're seeing the good in in voting. But I think it's going to come. It's gonna be up to. I guess I have nothing to add. It will just be more people will be voting in the future, and there will be better people to vote for.
Actually,
I
I'd like
think
to build on that.
It's always the case,
okay.
right?
Yeah, yeah. Hey, if you don't see anyone that you want to vote for, I want to tell people, why don't you run? You can run. I'm not saying you could do it right away. I'm not saying you can go out and put your name on the ballot and hope everyone will vote for you. That's not how it's going to work. We have to be realistic, right? But I'm saying we live in a place where we can run. You and I, like, that is such a special opportunity that I
It
feel
really
in all
is.
of human history, it's just something that was very uncommon. But we're
Mm-hmm.
here and we
Mm-hmm.
live in a society where, I'll admit, it's easier for more privileged people to run, but people
Far easier.
nonetheless can run.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And I want to share with young people that you need to believe in yourself. You need to trust that if you believe that you can solve a problem or you want to see the world be a better place, then you need to trust yourself to go run and just try to convince people, because once you start convincing people, you can cement confidence in yourself and a belief in yourself that you know what it is that you want to do. You see a better world inside and you want to bring that out and share that with everybody. People
Mm,
need to
I
run.
people do need to run. Yeah,
Hmm.
I agree with you with what you're saying. People need to believe in themselves. If that's really what they want to do, I mean, that's what I want to do. I want to run in politics as well.
Hmm.
And I think there's a lot of others like us that want the same. They want a better world. It's going to be difficult. That goes without saying. Have hope. I have hope. I do.
Well,
I
I
just,
think I
I have
honestly
hope.
I look forward to that, and we'll talk about that more, Felipe, when you're preparing to run, or we just come back on the show. We'll get your voice out there even more. But
I
you're
appreciate that.
both highlighting like civic engagement was just way too taken for granted with this privileged
Hmm.
country, which of course privileges some more than others. Just has we have taken so much for granted.
Hmm.
um, and lost touch with, like, democracies are active. They require action. They don't run themselves, and
Of
it's
course.
based on civic engagement. And whether it's helping someone campaign, whether it's just having, I know some people hate making phone calls. Some people love knocking on doors and canvassing, putting up signs, writing a letter to the editor, calling representatives. It's very empowering. It's very empowering. And the
Hmm.
We're
more
not
of us who
we're not outnumbered. We're just out organized.
Well put. I'm just gonna while you guys, I just want to check back on. I'm gonna look at a list, because there were so many great things that y'all talked about. Let's see if there's anything we haven't covered yet. Um, oh well, this is maybe more. Well, I was gonna say philosophical, but it's also political and a lot of other adjectives. Just the
Henry's gonna love this one.
That's
um,
what I do.
yeah, like uh, why can't people just be honest with one another and in public? Um, and why do we hate and distrust politicians? That might be obvious to some people by thinking, "Oh, I'll tell you why." But anybody want to play with that? Like, why? I'm just connecting those two questions. Why can't people just be honest with one another and in public? What do you want to say about that?
I'll go first before Henry.
Hey.
Phones, phones, phones. I don't want to sound like a stern father giving advice, but it's true. It's the phones. We rely so much on connection with people through social media, through screens and typing, and
Hmm.
every generation before has said something about the same thing. I'm sure in the past people said that, oh, writing on paper is bad for your eyes, and it's going to lead to degeneracy in the future generations. There is evidence that phones are just not great for people's social skills or just the formation of their brains really.
It's so true. Lots of studies that are showing evidence of what you're saying.
There's what was the original question again?
Why can't people trust each other? Why can't people trust each other these days?
Right. The phones, they definitely created a culture of have you heard of cringe culture?
I know what cringe is.
Well, our generation especially, if you try doing anything, you are cringe. Why even bother trying? You're trying so hard. What are you doing? Just act like you're not trying. Go to class with pajamas on. Talk in as few words as possible. I don't know. Use lingo. If you're not, if you don't sound like everybody on like the most popular reel or post, then I don't know. You're not doing something right. That's what they say, right?
You're not cool. You're not cool if you
you're not cool.
are different.
You're different. You don't fit the mold.
Exactly. And I want to add on to what Felipe was saying. I want to take a look at, let's look at the content that's out there. Let's look at what we consume. We're not a society where kids in school read books, especially classical books. I can't remember, I don't know a single person who's, let's say, read Moby Dick and enjoyed it. And it's not just, I'm not saying that Moby Dick is the key to a perfect education, but I am saying we need to take a look at what it is that we consume to educate us, to shape our beliefs, our motivations, our desires, because what we see out there are perfectly curated posts, movies, TikTok reels, YouTube shorts, Instagram reels. Like, we're saying that you have to be perfect and there's no other way to be.
And it's just an illusion of what life is supposed to look like. And that's not what most people's lives look like. It's not.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's the issue. Like, we grow up with this. Like you said, kids who, before they're even able to walk, have access to YouTube. And they see perfectly curated people and lives. And when we are fed so much of that, we come to believe that about ourselves. And when we see our own flaws and weaknesses, we don't want to show it because that's not in accordance with what we know to be or how society is supposed to be, how we're supposed to be. And stepping away from that and realizing that you're just a human being like everybody else. Everybody goes through the same issues and struggles, and you're not alone. You're not different. Just because your world is falling apart doesn't mean no one else's is either. We're all going through so many struggles at the same time. And that's what I mean by community. Like, we just have to be able to learn to share this. And the reason I think we can't be like honest or talk in public like that is because we're so afraid of the consequences of standing out, of being different, of actually being a real human being instead of curated products. Because also we come to value products.
Yeah. But I mean, humans, it's what makes us human to make mistakes, right? And other generations didn't experience this as much. That in our generation that's been on phones and social media, your mistakes, they get captured forever. Always there.
Don't think too much about that. Don't think too much about it. I feel like we put too much value
I don't. That. You and me, I don't think we do as much. We're not immune to it, but I'm just pointing it out. A lot of our generation, they feel so much shame because all their mistakes get caught on camera, recorded to be passed around and shown and reminded again on your with your phone notification saying, "Hey, look at these photos that you took 2 years ago," and it's some embarrassing shirt you were wearing. Yeah, I don't think it's healthy. I don't think people should be worrying about these things at all. But that's how we were conditioned.
I just want to reiterate
the narrative.
Yeah, I just want to emphasize 3 points that you guys just said that are so important, that answered the question, why aren't people being honest with each other, or why can't they be? Like, you just named it. Like, number one, let's just say, if you're online on phones, you're not having real relationships. You're not really actually having human interaction. Human interaction is key to being vulnerable and honest and sharing and crying and laughing and being authentic and real and honest, right? And if it's this, it's not relationship building, it's not community building. And then that, like Henry's emphasis on the the lie of perfection is so harmful. I mean, there have been studies for years and years of how harmful, first it was about affecting girls' self-esteem. Well, how about boys, and you just made such great points. I'm sorry, I'm just reiterating what you both said because it's so important and not to be missed. That, and then again, back to Felipe's point of if you make a mistake, like when we didn't have phones, what were mistakes considered? Unless you had like extremely harsh, critical people in your life, they were considered. That's how you learn. That's learning. You learn like, oh, I did that, so I'm not going to do that again. I learned, oh, that had the consequence. I'm learning from that. I'm going to make a different choice that's going to have a better impact. That is very different from being humiliated and like judged for life because you took a stupid picture when you were 14, before your brain was developed.
I
So,
agree. And I think we need to change the narrative that we see today and that we're taught, because I think this thing called mild social discomfort has such a powerful effect on our lives. We just do everything possible to avoid mild social discomfort, whether that's just saying hi to somebody whose face we recognize or acquaintance we maybe aren't friends with but don't really know, and we go out of our way to not interact with them because it would be uncomfortable of violating the habits that we've already developed or we're supposed to be doing, and instead of just forming a natural and real organic human relationship. And I don't know. I just wish that it didn't have to be that way and people can just be like, hey, we're all human beings. Let's make mistakes. Let's have fun. Let's do our best. Let's try not to harm people because that's bad, of course. But as long as we don't do that and as long as we're just being genuine and authentic with ourselves, what more can we do? What more can be asked of us?
right. And
Passing
then
people on the street, they're just on their phone. Just
They are.
stop at a bus stop, everybody on their phone. Not a care in the world.
wow. Oh my gosh.
Very helpful.
We
Very
only
helpful.
we only have 3 minutes left. We only have 3 minutes left. How did this time fly by? I have no idea. We'll have to
There's
have
a
you guys
lot to
back.
talk about.
I have more questions, but I want to just, before I give you like a minute each to say your closing thought or whatever, 30 seconds. I wanted to just say thank you for not losing hope and knowing how to like tap back into it when you have a moment of despair, which is human, and we all do have moments. And us, one of the people who has sponsored our show, Sandy Holman, said, I really want you to make sure people do not give up. And she's done a lot of work her entire life to fight for rights for human beings, and she's not stopping, and she's never stopped. She probably hasn't taken a day off in her life, and she has the right to expect the rest of us not to give up. To think of that. This is just a message for anybody who this might resonate for. It's sort of a privilege to give up. Like, don't give up, really, because we want you to care about yourself and about life and to find hope, find people. That's how you're going to find hope, and to not give up. Now, I want to give each a closing thought moment before we have to go.
You,
Mm,
Felipe?
better days will come, but not on their own. We need community and connection now more than ever. Voice your opinion. Be a light in the darkness.
I think we have two poets.
It's
Thank you,
rubbing off.
Felipe.
It's rubbing off on me.
Yay! Henri.
Don't hurt people, and don't forget that you have free will, because the moment you forget that is when you stop having free will.
Wow. Oh my gosh. Thank you both so much. Henri and Felipe, you got to come back sometime.
Thanks for
We have to
having
wrap up.
us.
This was
Yeah,
fun.
thank you. I'm so glad. Thank you both for being here. And I want to
Lots
thank
of talking,
Rebel, our
guys.
engineer. And thank you to our producer, Dean Piper. And for anybody
Yes.
listening and viewing, be sure to tune in next Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. We're actually going to have a candidate. We're going to have Eric Jones on the show next week, Wednesday,
Really?
8 p.m. on Talk4 TV and w4cy.com on It's Your Voice. And thanks again. And may we all have enriching conversations and diversity. Keep connecting.
Yes. Thank you.
Thank you.